When you're dealing with a pathological narcissist, you're dealing with Pinocchio without a Jiminy Cricket. If you're unaware of the original story of Pinocchio, understand that Jiminy actually died. So Disney has a habit of taking dark, twisted children's fairy tales and turning them into something sugary sweet with happily ever afters. And they often modify these stories and change them again so that they have happily ever afters. So when you read the original story of like Pinocchio, even the Sleeping Beauty, the original story is not like what you may know. And the 90s, 40s version of Pinocchio really is no exception. So the story of Pinocchio that you know today has Jiminy Cricket playing a very prominent role, whereas in the original story it is not so much. So when I say that Jiminy Cricket died in the original story, well, Pinocchio killed him. The story of Pinocchio essentially was a tale that was depicting that children do not like to have their behavior corrected by people who know much more than them. So in the story, essentially Jiminy was telling Pinocchio to go home, and Pinocchio jumped up in a fury, took a hammer from a bench and threw it with all his strength at the talking cricket. Perhaps he did not think he would strike it, but sad to relate, he did hit the cricket straight on its head. And with a last cree cree cree, the poor cricket fell from the wall, dead. So when you're dealing with a pathological narcissist people, you're dealing with Pinocchio without a Jiminy Cricket. They're not in touch with their conscience, and understand that your conscience is a little voice in your head that acts as a moral compass. It tells you that, hey, don't steal that. Don't cheat on the person that you're in a relationship with. Hey, don't do that. Stop. You shouldn't do that. That doesn't exist. So if you think about the proverbial devil or angel on one's shoulder, understand that pathological narcissists are listening to the devil on their shoulder, or the devils, because it could be multiple. Again, Jiminy is dead. The conscience is compromised. Your conscience is seared. So as you go through this lesson, be reminded not to project your consciousness onto a pathological narcissist. They do not think like you. If you thought like a narcissist thought, then you would behave like a narcissist behave. If the narcissist thought like you, then they would behave like you. They do not think like you. Because people understand that every day an eagle wakes up, and the eagle knows that it needs to go hunt to find its food. Because eagles are hunters. When they go hunt, maybe they catch a fish. Maybe it's a smaller bird of prey. Maybe it's a rabbit. Similarly, every day a vulture wakes up, and the vulture knows that it needs to scavenge because vultures are scavengers. And similarly, every day a mosquito wakes up, and the mosquito knows that it needs to go find a host because mosquitoes are parasites. That is how they feed. So you got hunters, scavengers, parasites, etc. So understand that when you're dealing with a pathological narcissist, you're dealing with someone that does not have a conscience. And they like to feed. Just like mosquitoes, they are parasites. Mosquitoes don't come into your life to love you. They come into your life to take. And understand that pathological narcissists do not have a working conscience. Again, they killed that off in childhood. Jiminy died in childhood. This is why they are how they are today. Boundaryless adults. They will listen to the voice in their head that will tell them to go commit infidelity because they are infidels. Pathological narcissists are people addicts. They must find supply. Every day, a mosquito wakes up and the mosquito knows it needs to find a host. And this is where you come into the pathological narcissist. They believe that you are their host. They come to feed from you. So understand that there are 4 main characteristics that you can use to identify a pathological narcissist. And these are: number 1, they are grandiose. So they believe that they are superior to you without merit. This is their prideful nature. Secondly, they require excessive amounts of attention, admiration, and validation because they have pathologically low self-esteem, so you must boost their ego. Third, they are empathy impaired. They do not have empathy to give to you, so they are unable to put themselves in other people's shoes. They do not have empathy to give. So they're very apathetic. They're very cold individuals. And fourth, they are pathological liars. They are Pinocchio with his nose stuck in the elongated position. Why? Well, Jiminy died. No conscience. They are empathy impaired. No moral compass. That is what you're dealing with. So when you hear me state that pathological narcissists are people that have accepted an evil spirit, understand that again, people. These people are Pinocchio with no Jiminy. They don't care. They're not knowledge impaired. They are empathy impaired. The conscience is compromised. So you could explain to a narcissist that, hey, their behavior is abusive and, you don't like how they talk to you, or you don't like the silent treatment, etc. But understand that they don't care. It's not that they're knowledge impaired. They don't care about you. They don't have any empathy. They're cold. They only have access to apathy and other negative emotions. They're based in shame and they can't move past their pride. They have severe psycho-spiritual arrested development. So at an emotional level, they're based in shame and they cannot move past their pride. The pride, again, is being filled with pride, which means that they believe that they are perfect. Perfect people do not need to change. So this means that you must adjust yourself to their abuse. Pathological narcissists exist in victim-abuser consciousness. The third dimension, based in shame, can't move past their pride. They did not develop past their lower ego. So understand that abusers do not think like victims. Some birds are hunters like eagles, and some birds are scavengers like vultures. That is how they are designed. The vulture's stomach is designed to digest decomposing matter. That is how they are designed. They're scavengers. They're not hunters. They're scavengers. Parasites, ticks, fleas, mosquitoes, tapeworms are designed to suck the life force out of other animals because they're parasites. That is how they are designed. So it is important that as you traverse this earth, that you raise your discernment and you learn how to identify the different species that are in existence. Because everybody does not think like you. Everybody does not have a Jiminy. Some people lost their Jiminy. Well, actually, some people killed Jiminy. Shut up, you damn cricket. And again, people, pathological narcissists are Pinocchio. And I understand that in the original story of Pinocchio, Pinocchio killed Jiminy. That is what you're dealing with. So understand that if somebody's conscience is compromised, if their conscience is seared, if their moral compass is off, there's no amount of love, kindness, compassion, or empathy that you can give to them. They cannot receive your empathy. All of your love, kindness, and compassion is going to evaporate right there at the third dimension, right there at the line of pride, because pathological narcissists do not believe that they are deserving of your empathy, and this is why they will weaponize it. They will weaponize your empathy. They don't want your empathy. They want your subservience. They want you to adjust yourself to their abuse. They want you to shut up while they go cheat on you. That is what you're dealing with. Pinocchio, no Jiminy. So understand that you must adjust your expectations when you're dealing with pathological narcissists. And you must get the courage to walk away and stay away. You must get the courage to ascend, because you have no business in the third dimension. All you will find in the third dimension are victims and abusers. That is what exists in the third dimension. If you want loving, kind, empathetic individuals, then you must get to the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, etc. Continue to elevate. That's where you find those individuals, not in the third dimension. Understand that when you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. When you squeeze a grape, you get grape juice. If you squeeze a pathological narcissist, what you're going to get from them is various types of neglect and abuse, because that is what they have to give. Because they are Pinocchio, who killed Jiminy Cricket, the conscience. It is important that you maintain firm boundaries, because you're dealing with boundaryless individuals. They do not have a moral compass. How could they? Jiminy's dead. You must get the courage to walk away and stay away from the third dimension and the individuals that are stuck in the third dimension. You cannot love a pathological narcissist and they are unable to love you. Love does not exist in the third dimension. Pathological narcissism as an energy spectrum exists below the line of courage. Love is all the way up there in the 500s. Pathological narcissists can't get to that. They cannot pass the spiritual barrier at the third dimension. They're not evolving. And because of this, because they cannot ascend, then you will only descend into the third dimension if you get into a relationship with one of these individuals. Because you're stuck in the third dimension, because they have arrested development. So again, ensure that you maintain firm boundaries when you're dealing with these boundaryless individuals that have a compromised conscience. Because simply put, they do not care. They will harm you and they will not care. They don't have any empathy. They lost their empathy. Poor little Jiminy is dead. All right, kind people, that is where we are stopping off here in today's lesson. Ensure that you're liking these videos. Ensure that you're subscribed for more empowering content. If you need someone to talk to, go ahead and book a one-on-one session. All of the links for this are on the page. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Thank you for watching always. Thank you for your support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.